Good evening, I'm Brazil Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin chaired his first cabinet meeting today and it looks like he has some good news for Perikatan Nasional, which translates to bad news for Pakatan Harapan. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin revealed that the new Perikatan Nasional government controls the majority support of Dewan Rakyat. However, there's still one person Muhyiddin is hoping would support the new government, his former boss, Dr Mahathir Mohamad.
Saya bersedia anytime, any place, anywhere to meet Tun for the sake of the country. We have formed this government and I want Tun to endorse this government. That is government for the people. It is legal, it is constitutional. If it is a good thing for the people, I think people are hoping that this government will deliver. And we promise that we will deliver.
Speaking at a press conference after chairing the new government's first cabinet meeting this morning, Muhyiddin thanked Mahathir for his view that the administration would last until the next general election. He said Malaysians are hoping for the new government to deliver and that they do not want a snap election. During the political turmoil last month, which saw Pakatan Harapan fall after governing for barely 2 years, UMNO and PAS had called for the mandate to be returned to the Rakyat through a snap election. The two parties had since joined the Muhyiddin-led faction in Bersatu to form a majority coalition, together with several other parties, including Sarawak's GPS, MCA and MIC.
If you want to have a snap election, I don't want that. The people will maybe be not only cursed, say this is not the right time. So we are here to serve. What do? We continue to serve. So I wish that everybody, not just Tun, to give us all the encouragement that will do what is best for them.
Muhyiddin also revealed that while all 4 senior ministers in the new government are equal in rank, Azmin Ali has been chosen to chair cabinet meetings in the absence of the Prime Minister. Malaysia's economy isn't doing so well, and to make things worse, we're hit with several issues at once. Poor exchange rates, falling interest rates, COVID-19 and the plunging oil prices, to name a few. So, can we afford having so many ministers and deputies? Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin has suggested that he was willing to lead by example to take a pay cut to save some taxpayer money.
Salary cut would be considered. Because my question was specifically, would the ministers and deputy ministers consider a salary cut?
I will take that challenge first. I will do it. I want my salary to be cut, I don't know, 5% or 10%. We did not discuss it today, so I think don't preempt. But I think most of us here believe that we can contribute what we can normally and hope we can save some few million. We'll do that.
Muhyiddin added that a bigger challenge for the government would be to find a way to mitigate the economic effects of the COVID-19 outbreak, which has had a massive impact on the tourism industry, which brings in billions of ringgit.
We discussed just now for the Minister of Tourism, Nancy Shukri, to present to the Cabinet what are the specific measures that we need to take to support maybe domestic tourism and help those people in industries to make sure they will not be badly or too badly affected. Those are the measures that we will do to make sure that tourism still play an important role for our economic development.
Muhyiddin also revealed that the new government will re-examine the stimulus package designed by the previous Harapan government to improve it. He said this will be left to the Finance Minister, who will present it to the Cabinet at a later date. Looks like Pakatan Harapan will have to wait until GE15 because a vote of no confidence may not be very fruitful at this point. Pakatan Harapan may not have lasted a full term, but according to Dr Mahathir Mohamad, the Perikatan Nasional government led by Muhyiddin Yassin looks strong enough to last until the 15th general election, which does not have to be held until 2023. In an exclusive interview with Sinar Harian, Dr Mahathir said this is because some of his supporters have been converted by Muhyiddin by offering sweets such as cabinet posts. Dr Mahathir also revealed that Harapan used to have 114 seats, but now that number has been reduced. So even if Harapan wished to bring a motion of no confidence in Dewan Rakyat, it would be fruitless because Muhyiddin has the numbers. Mahathir and Muhyiddin were the dominant figures in the UMNO splinter party Bersatu, which stormed to victory in the May 2018 election as part of the Pakatan Harapan coalition. However, promises of a handover of power to PKR President Anwar Ibrahim never materialized, as both Bersatu and PKR split over the issue. When the dust settled, Muhyiddin had crossed over to form a new Perikatan Nasional government with UMNO, PAS and smaller parties. After swearing in before the Yang di-Pertuan Agong yesterday, the new cabinet ministers have clocked in and settled into their new offices in Putrajaya. And for Hishammuddin Yassin, who is in charge of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, his priorities are already very clear. Fixing the country's relationship with Saudi Arabia will be one of the top priorities for the new Foreign Affairs Minister, Hishammuddin Yassin. He said he has invited his Saudi counterpart, Prince Faisal Farhan, to Malaysia to hold a meeting between the two governments. Meanwhile, Hishammuddin did not mention the cause of the strained bilateral relationship between Malaysia and Saudi Arabia. It is believed to be linked to the Kuala Lumpur summit in December 2019, which was mooted by then Prime Minister Dr Mahathir Mohamad. Speaking to reporters today, Hishammuddin vowed to put Malaysia back on the world map. Meanwhile, on the fight against the spread of COVID-19, he said Malaysia will work closely with countries affected by the coronavirus, namely Singapore and China, to share strategies on handling the disease.
We can actually do a lot because this COVID-19 affects the whole world. And if we have strong relations with countries that are going through that situation, why not find and share best practices? So in fact, this is the one matter which I will raise with Minister Wang Yi from China. This is something that I will raise with Minister Vivian in Singapore. And I know UAE is at the front line in combating COVID-19 in the Middle East.
Hishammuddin said the coronavirus, if not managed properly, will not only have an adverse effect on the economy, but will also impact the psychology of the Malaysian people. Not sure if you realise this, but the Perikatan Nasional Pact makes UMNO's Kinabatangan MP Bung Mokhtar Radin a government MP again. And his first order of business, be vocal like he always has been. UMNO's Kinabatangan MP Bung Mokhtar Radin trained his guns on Tengku Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz just hours after the latter's appointment as Finance Minister. Bung had taken issue with Tengku Zafrul's statement that there will not be political interference with him as the new Finance Minister.
But you say you're not a politician, you'll be able to keep politics out of finance ministry and you'll be able to give him a free hand to do what you have to do?
I hope so. Expressing himself on Twitter, Bung said that if that's Zafrul's position, it would be best for him to set up his own ministry because he does not realize that his appointment itself is a political one. One social media user suggested that Bung may later track back from his criticism, but the Sabah UMNO chief was unrepentant. He replied, quote, "No retreat, no sorry." Bung maintained that his criticism was normal. 9 PKR lawmakers who abandoned Harapan to join forces with Bersatu Biar and PAS have been appointed ministers or deputy ministers. Coincidence? Housing and Local Government Minister Zuraida Kamarudin has rubbished claims by certain quarters that almost all PKR MPs who left the party to join Perikatan Nasional were rewarded with positions. Zuraida, who is the Ampang MP, said former PKR MPs were instead given ministerial positions based on suitability. She explained that there are many MPs in the coalition, but those formerly with PKR were only 10 of them. With such a small number, it's easy to fill positions. When the cabinet lineup was announced 2 days ago by Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, 9 out of 10 former PKR MPs were given ministerial positions. They were aligned to former PKR President Azmin Ali, who is now the International Trade and Industry Minister. During the previous Pakatan Harapan government, Azmin was the Economic Affairs Minister, while Zuraida retained her position under the new PN government. Out of the 10, only Rashid Hasnun is not a minister, as he is the Dewan Rakyat Deputy Speaker. Coming up next, we give you an update on the global coronavirus situation. Our next story is brought to you by Blue Air. We take a look at how the lockdown is impacting Italy and how other countries are reacting to the coronavirus. Shops and restaurants were closed early, hundreds of flights were cancelled and streets were empty across Italy on Tuesday, the first day of an unprecedented nationwide lockdown imposed to slow Europe's worst outbreak of the coronavirus. The government has told all Italians to stay home and avoid non-essential travel until April 3rd. Anyone travelling had to fill in a document declaring their reasons and carry it with them at all times. Outdoor events, including sports fixtures, have been suspended and schools and universities were closed. In the US, hundreds of travellers were allowed to disembark the cruise ship Grand Princess in California. According to the cruise line, as of Tuesday evening, more than 1,400 passengers had left the ship and were headed to quarantine sites around the country. California Governor Gavin Newsom said he hoped to finish getting all 2,400 passengers off the ship within 72 hours. The Grand Princess was denied entry to San Francisco Bay last Wednesday as authorities learned some passengers and crew had developed flu-like symptoms and that travelers on an earlier cruise to Mexico aboard the same ship had tested positive for the coronavirus. Since then, at least 12 cases have been reported linked to the previous Mexico trip. On Tuesday morning, Trump said cruise and airline industries would be getting aid, but did not elaborate.
Closely with the cruise line industry, and very, very closely. They're taking very strong steps in terms of people going on and going off, but they're spending a lot of money and they are working very hard, and we're going to be helping that industry. Likewise with the airline industry, they're taking very, very strong steps for people coming into our country, even getting off the planes. So we are working very closely with them. We're helping them. They're two great industries, and we'll be helping them through this patch.
China reported an increase in new confirmed cases of coronavirus infections, reversing 4 straight days of fewer new cases, driven by infected individuals arriving from abroad. The National Health Commission said mainland China had 24 new confirmed cases on Tuesday, up from 19 new cases a day earlier. Of the new infections, 10 were imported cases, bringing the overall cases from abroad to 79. As China's efforts to control the spread of the pathogen at home starts to pay off, Beijing is turning its focus on overseas cases as the coronavirus expands its footprint across the globe. New infections in central Hubei province, the epicenter of the outbreak, continue to stabilize, with new cases declining for the 6th day.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching. But before we go, we leave you with some visuals of how new Perikatan ministers are clocking in for work for the first time.
Satu kesi. Tangan tu. Datang Malaysia
Dapat sikit.
Betul.
Terima kasih ucapkan. Terima kasih panas ni.